When most people picture a millionaire, they imagine luxury cars, sprawling mansions, designer clothes, and lavish vacations. But according to decades of research, this stereotype is dead wrong. In The Millionaire Next Door, published in 1996, Thomas J. Stanley and William D. Danko studied the habits and lifestyles of real millionaires across America. What they discovered shocked people then and still surprises readers today. The typical millionaire isn't living in Beverly Hills or driving a sports car. Instead, they're your quiet neighbor who lives in an ordinary house, drives a reliable used car, and shops with coupons. Welcome to 10-Minute Books, the channel where we break down the world's most powerful books into practical lessons you can absorb in just 10 minutes. Today, we're diving into The Millionaire Next Door, a groundbreaking book that reveals how ordinary people build extraordinary wealth by living below their means and practicing disciplined habits. The core idea: wealth is what you don't see. Stanley and Danko discovered that most millionaires don't look rich. In fact, flashy spending is often a sign of financial weakness, not strength. True wealth is built quietly through discipline, saving, and investing. They summarize this with a powerful idea: wealth is what you don't see. The luxury car in the driveway may signal high spending, but the person driving the 10-year-old sedan may actually have far more wealth. PAWs and UAWs. The authors categorize people into two groups: prodigious accumulators of wealth, PAWs, and under-accumulators of wealth, UAWs. PAWs are people who save diligently, invest consistently, and live far below their means. They often end up with much more wealth than their peers, even if they don't earn the highest incomes. UAWs, on the other hand, spend heavily, save little, and accumulate far less wealth than their income suggests. The difference isn't income, it's behavior. Two people earning the same salary can end up in completely different financial situations based on whether they act like a PAW or a UAW. PAWs tend to plan for the long term, avoid debt, and view money as a tool for independence. UAWs often live paycheck to paycheck, even with high salaries, because their focus is on appearances and consumption. Income versus wealth. One of the book's most important distinctions is between income and wealth. Income is how much money you earn. Wealth is how much you keep and grow. Many high-income professionals, doctors, lawyers, executives, live paycheck to paycheck because they overspend. Meanwhile, average earners who save and invest wisely can quietly build millions. Frugality and budgeting. The number one common trait among millionaires was frugality. They budget, track expenses, and avoid lifestyle inflation. Instead of trying to impress others, they focus on financial independence. Many millionaires live in modest homes, drive used cars, and wear ordinary clothes. They don't see these choices as sacrifices. They see them as smart, freeing, and aligned with their goals. Time, energy, and money. Stanley and Danko highlight how millionaires carefully allocate their time, energy, and money. They don't waste hours shopping for status symbols or chasing trends. Instead, they prioritize planning, investing, and learning. Wealthy people value efficiency. They avoid financial distractions and focus their energy on what truly matters: the importance of self-employment. The research found that many millionaires are self-employed or own small businesses. They control their income, manage their expenses carefully, and reinvest profits. However, the key isn't entrepreneurship itself, it's discipline. Many employees also become millionaires by saving diligently and living below their means. Economic outpatient care. One fascinating finding is what the authors call economic outpatient care, when wealthy parents give adult children money to support lavish lifestyles. Ironically, this often prevents children from becoming financially independent themselves. Those who receive handouts often spend recklessly, while those who don't learn discipline and responsibility. Over time, the financially dependent children may drain the parents' wealth rather than building their own. This insight reveals why many fortunes don't survive more than 1 or 2 generations. Millionaire habits. The book outlines several consistent habits of millionaires. They live well below their means. They allocate their time and resources efficiently. They believe financial independence matters more than social status. They teach their children discipline instead of dependence. They focus on long-term wealth, not short-term consumption. Case studies. Stanley and Danko provide real-life examples of families who quietly built fortunes by living modestly. A couple might earn a middle-class salary, invest steadily for decades, and retire with millions. At the same time, high-income households with luxury lifestyles often end up with little savings. These stories drive home the point. Building wealth has less to do with how much you earn, and more to do with how you manage what you keep. Why so many people stay broke? The authors explain that cultural and social pressures push people to overspend. We equate wealth with luxury, and many people spend to impress others. This trap keeps them from ever accumulating true wealth. Millionaires, on the other hand, resist this pressure. They choose independence over image, criticism, and balance. Some critics argue that The Millionaire Next Door romanticizes frugality, or that it doesn't account for structural inequalities that limit financial opportunities. It's true that discipline alone doesn't solve every problem, but the book's central message that habits, choices, and values have enormous impact on financial outcomes remains valid. Modern relevance. Even decades after its release, the book feels highly relevant. In today's world of Instagram lifestyles, rising consumer debt, and pressure to look successful, the lessons are sharper than ever. The quiet millionaire next door is still out there building wealth, while others chase appearances. The book reminds us that in a culture obsessed with spending, choosing modesty and discipline is almost a rebellious act. The lesson is timeless. Wealth is freedom, not consumption. The big takeaway. The Millionaire Next Door teaches that real wealth is built on discipline, frugality, and independence, not high incomes or flashy spending. By becoming a prodigious accumulator of wealth, living below your means, and focusing on long-term growth, anyone can quietly build financial security. The question is, are you chasing the image of wealth, or are you building the reality of it? That was The Millionaire Next Door by Thomas J. Stanley and William D. Danko, broken down in under 15 minutes. Which idea resonates most with UPAWs versus UAWs, economic outpatient care, or the fact that wealth is what you don't see? Share your thoughts in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this summary, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe to 10-Minute Books, and ring the bell so you never miss our weekly breakdowns of life-changing books. Thanks for watching, and remember, the millionaire next door might just be you if you live with discipline and purpose.